This is the second event that Karthik has done about sales. This is a topic that I don't think many engineers think about very much or at all. And there's a lot of people in Taro who are thinking about side projects or entrepreneurship, or they're just in a sales role, sales engineering role at their company. So this is an area where Karthik is certainly much, much more equipped than me to talk about, and he's probably one of the best people I know to talk about this. So this one in particular is about the founder perspective. So really excited, Karthik. Thanks for being here and sharing a lot of your knowledge.
Great. Thanks, Rahul. All right, let's dive right into it. Um, and so I will only take 30 minutes of your time. How's that? I know we scheduled this for an hour, but I believe in giving people time back. So I'm going to pack a lot of stuff in this 30 minutes. What are we going to do? We are going to figure out why entrepreneurs, when they go out and start selling, they know a lot about their product, the pain points, everything, but they don't seem to be able to close the deal. Or even if the customer or the prospect is super excited, like they have a great meeting with the customer, but they go cold. Like, I thought you really wanted this, and I was able to show you how this can help you, and they don't call back, and it's very frustrating. Or even worse, they get into a perpetual POC. So they start working with you, and you spend all these hours with that person, days and weekends, and it's just perpetually a POC, and they are just not moving forward. And at the end of the day, even if you do push it all the way to the end, you have to discount heavily, almost give it away for free, if you want to make the deal, right? So it's very frustrating. And a lot of you folks that are looking to get into entrepreneurship, like just we are here, but it's holding you back because you do not know how all this is going to pan out, because you know that these issues are going to cost you a lot of time, cost you a lot of money, which, as Rahul says, are the same thing when you're an entrepreneur. Time is money, and where you invest your time is going to really make or break your startup. So in the next 30 minutes, you're going to talk about why this happens and how you can solve these issues. Good? All right. So keep your questions coming. Interrupt me and ask, because that way I can add more value. All right. Just a little bit about me. Why am I talking about this? Because I have over 18 years of B2B sales experience. For the most part, I was not good at it, right? I was like any other technical salesperson, just fumbling my way through. And I was a software engineer, and then I became a technical seller. I thought I knew selling, and of course, I got kudos from my team and everything. And then I went became an entrepreneur. Was not good at it, and found the hard way all the things you should not do. But now I've grown to be the VP of sales. I've tripled the customer count in my current company. I kind of figured out how to do it on my own. So it's this 18 years of thought process and refinement that I like to share with other entrepreneurs. And I do consult with companies as well. So my biggest turning point was really Aviatrix. I was employee number 12. I was the first technical seller on the team. And I just worked with the founder. So I'm almost seen as a co-founder of the company. Please don't go say this to people. But I was instrumental in getting Aviatrix off the ground, and we became a unicorn. We went from $0 to $2 billion in valuations, and I learned a lot from my mentors at Aviatrix. Okay, so let's get right into it. If you went and asked anybody in the sales world what the buyer journey is, a marketing person, salesperson, you say, how do customers buy? What is the B2B buying journey, right? They they go through this. They say, oh, the customer identifies a problem, then they start exploring a solution, and they start requirement building, then they start solutioning different products, and they shortlist it to three, and they will do validation POCs, and there'll be a consensus creation team that comes together and discusses, and then they decide, I'm going to buy this product because it's an awesome AI enabled product, and I need to do this for my company, and they go invest money and get it budgeted and procure it, right? This is what they'll tell you. And all of B2B sales processes and the tools and the software, Salesforce, you take it, like whatever software you use, Marketo, they've built it around this funnel concept. right? Where people, the B2B buyer is going through this journey, and you get to catch them in different phases. And the earlier you catch them, the better their chances of converting. And sometimes you catch them before they have a problem, and it's, then you're doing a lot of education. Like the whole thing is prefaced on this model. Okay. And they call this a funnel. And they say you have to go do 100 conversations so that you can discover a few of them, and you might end up closing 3 out of those 100, right? So the entire concept is predicated on this journey, right? On this model. So this is fine. And this is what everybody did when the IT guys had this 5-year planning phases where they would plan out their storage and compute, and they'd buy VMware. And that's how it was back in the day. But today, the B2B buying journey looks more like this, right? It is very convoluted. There are all kinds of people, right? So, I mean, the customer is going through this journey of problem identification, solution, all that stuff, right? Requirement building. But there's a manager who just got changed. Forget a manager. A new developer comes in, and they have their own open source thing that they've already done, and they want to bring that and completely changes the requirement set. They have to go back and check if this will work, and all this agenda is going on. The CEO suddenly has to get a different budget approved. So anyways, they're coming to your site, they're downloading a document, then they go and share it internally, then they will call you and ask a couple of questions, and they'll go cold again. Why? Because they're going through this convoluted, I wouldn't even call it a process, this ad hoc conversational style thing. Okay. And if you think about why that happened, is mostly, I think it started with the advent of public clouds, where people were now making the decision making became democratized. It is no longer a CIO decision to buy or not buy. Developers are making the buying decisions. Marketing people are making technology buying decisions, right? The business units are on their own. They swipe their corporate credit card, and they're up and running with a new SaaS application, right? So they don't have a buying journey that's defined. They just go and they try different stuff out, and this is where the product led growth and all that kind of takes advantage of this a little bit, to kind of feed into this energy. So we as entrepreneurs need to start feeding into this energy, because if you don't understand this, that the buying process has changed, you're going to try and fit the customer's convoluted conversations into your pipeline. Okay. You're going to go tell your investor, I had 10 great conversations. And you'll continue to tell them that till the end of the year, and nothing will move. Right? Because you don't understand that customers don't have a process, right? So this mismatch between seller and buyer expectations is causing a lot of sales stagnation. Now, I want to tell you a few things in this presentation where there'll be no going back. Okay. What I just told you, is not general knowledge. Even the most experienced salespeople do not understand this. And I found this out the wrong way. Now that you know this, there is no going back. So I'm glad I was able to turn on a switch in your mind, guys. So when you go talk to your customers, or a prospect, do not expect that an excited prospect is going to bring you an opportunity. Okay. So, but there are ways to feed into this energy. Any questions so far? Jasper, you said hey. Okay. Um, yeah, just post a question, so just stop and ask. Okay, so before we jump into the solution, let's talk about the consequences. What's the consequence of that? You had a great conversation, but the prospect doesn't call back. Your POCs don't convert. Every time you go into your investor, and somebody's going to invest in your company, okay, and they will want to know where you are and how many customers are interested, how many customers are going to buy. At some point, right, they're not going to just keep pouring money into your business. And what ends up happening is you, as the founder, will continue to go in quarter after quarter, or month after month, with just inspiring stories for the investors. with nothing to show for it. Okay, I've been in that position. It's not fun. And guess what? The investor will want you to go hire a VP of sales. And guess what the VP of sales is going to do? The VP of sales is going to come from a big company, and he or she is going to want you to do this. And that is going to cost you a lot of time and a lot of money. Okay. So that's the whole situation that a lot of founders find themselves in. Okay. And for me, that turning point was at Aviatrix. Until then, I've had plenty of success, where the startups I worked for were acquired and all that. But it was at Aviatrix that I really got this, where I really got to mold my thinking. I understood this, and I took that and I created a sales framework, a very thorough sales framework that goes all the way from identifying your ICP. It's not the ideal customer profile the way you think about it. There's more to it. Okay. Everything that I created, this framework that I put together, is grounded in today's B2B buying trends. It is not outdated. That's the best way I can put it, right? It starts with preparing for your meetings. How do you do the preparation? How do you conduct a first meeting? How do you identify that this is an opportunity and not let the customer drive it, right? So you, as a founder, should say, is this worth my time? I know this person's excited. They could probably buy, but is this worth my time? And there are tools and frameworks to think about it. And then you take it from there. And how do you take it to closing? How do you mitigate risks and actually go generate revenue, right? So this is my framework on a very high level. I do conduct a course with a hands-on workshop and everything. But today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics. And again, after you hear this, there's no going back. Okay. So today's topic is going to be discovery that sells. You guys know what discovery means? Anybody?
Just
What the
discover
customer
things.
wants. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, please
Go ahead.
proceed.
Yeah. So discovery call, right? It is where you're trying to understand from the customer what their pain points are, and you're positioning your solution, right? So if you don't understand the customer well enough, you're not going to able to sell. So this thing about discovery, people have the spreadsheet. They start filling out, and especially technical sellers, they just ask question after question that the customer's like, why am I in this call, right? Because they want to make sure that they discover. The idea is to discover in a way that you're actually selling during the discovery. Okay, wouldn't that be amazing? The amount of time you're investing, the customer starts to understand stuff as you're doing your discovery. Okay, so it sounds more like a give and take. Okay, so that's what I'm going to focus on today. All right, so let's start with what a normal discovery flow looks like. So let's say you're an entrepreneur, or you're carrying, you're a salesperson, sales engineer in your company, and or the sales team calls you and says, hey, I need some technical help to talk to a customer, whatever. What do? You go pinpoint hunting, right? And I have an example. This is a very simple, mundane example. I do not expect any of you to be website developers. I'm sure you guys are superstars, but I'm going to take a website developer example because everybody understands it. Okay. So let's say I'm a website developer and I get in front of a customer and I'm pain point hunting, and the customer says, hey, we have a conversion rate problem on the website. We think that the call to action button is the issue. It's way down there, and people just kind of visit our website and we lose them. So we need to fix this this call to action, this button issue, this conversion issue. And you go, you know what? We have a lot of it. So you as a website developer go, oh my God, this is so easy. And of course, and I have a lot of experience in how to lay out the website and have the call to action in different places, and maybe have slightly different call to. I have done this before. I've done all these great things with other customer that really loves me now, and all that stuff. So you go, well, we can do that, and our UX designers can improve the visibility of your call to action button. It's kind of grayed out. It needs to be more like red and bold, and okay, so that's your solution. I'm going to do this. And then you say, would you be interested in speaking further? And my team can join a Zoom call and potentially start putting together some things for you and the pricing, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Make sense? All right. What do you think the value of the solution is for the customer? So in the customer's mind, okay, I'll pay him under $1,000, right? And it's about 850, give or take, maybe two developers, couple of hours. That's what they're thinking. In fact, I could do this myself, right? Okay, so now I need to build or buy. I can build this myself, or do I have to go buy the service from this person? So that's what they're thinking. Okay. All right. So this is one way of doing discovery, and not a good way, in my opinion. But this is what most people do. What's a better way to do discovery? Okay. You ask situational questions. You're not problem hunting yet, right? You're asking situation. In fact, before walking into the customer's meeting, you can do enough research where you kind of know their situation. What is their competitive thing? How many people have they been hiring or letting go? Have they been increasing their sales, or who's their competition, and what industry do they play in? You have a lot of this before you go in. You should do that. But when you're in there, you validate it, right? And you're asking situational questions about the company, the organization, what technologies do you use, and what understand their maturity level in technology, all that, right? So this is how it would flow for that example. Like you understand how many domains do they maintain, are you using Ruby on Rails, and all that stuff, right? So you'll understand the situation, like what's your what kind of customers visit your website? Do they come there for information? Do they come there for some other free resource, like things like that, right? And then you go problem hunting. You go, okay, so what is the issue you're having? And the customer says something like, look, there's a new product that we have and that's not getting enough visibility and it's not converting, right? So it's because you went from the situational question, you get a little bit more context on this call to action button not being visible, right? What they're really saying is we have a new product, which is one of the situations that they were in, and that product is not selling enough. They were hoping to do direct sales on the website, and it's not selling enough. So you got a little bit more context. And we as technical people want to jump into the solution because I can do this. Let me show you this. Let me show you that, right? We want to do that. What do? You don't do that. So far, you've only been asking questions, situational questions, problem question. The next question you ask is, so what? So what? Oh, because this new product, my CEO promised the board that he'll show 20% growth with this new product, and it's not working. Okay, so what? Oh, my CEO is not happy. He's blah blah blah. So it's okay to ask a few so what questions, and sometimes the person you're speaking to does not know. So what? And that should tell you something. If the person's not able to answer the so what question, it means you're speaking to the wrong person. So this is why people get excited and on the first call, because they're technologists like us, and they want to learn more about, oh my God, this AI solution is so cool, and they're so excited, but they are unable to connect the dots to a business problem. So by asking the so what question, you start to understand how it impacts this person, their career, their team, the company, their manager, all that. Okay. So, and then the question you ask is, what if I could demonstrate that I can fix this for you? Okay. So, but they'll say, "Oh, this will be great." And so would your CEO like that if we could fix this problem and show him that we are showing some improvement? Like, oh yeah, of course. And if you could do this, that'll happen. That'll happen. Okay, good. So this is a very simple example. In most in most processes, you don't get a CEO mandate. You will get something else in the organization, and then you'll have to hunt for another one to hop and get to a business level problem. Most of the time you will not get it in the first meeting, but at least you go a few levels up. And so all you've done is you've asked questions at this point, and you're letting the prospect speak about what they desire and what the implications are. So okay, so what is the difference now that you go through this process? And I, as a web developer, have gone through this process. The solution value in the customer's mind is now $35,000. Why? Because you have helped this person map this conversion ratio issue or this call to action button issue to a problem. And you've helped this team identify the dots, connect the dots, and say, this is why we are in the meeting with you. And now in their mind, okay, I'm going to be, so this guy's telling me he or she can help me. And so I would get to go look good in front of my CEO. So the value is a lot higher. But ultimately, the service you sell is the same, right? It is still the same web development, web design, service, everything is still the same. But the fact that you went through this situational question to these what if scenarios makes you a completely different person. So, in short, what you want to take away from here is it is not the problem that matters. It is the consequence of the problem that matters. Okay. Varsha, as a technical person, what are the most effective strategies you would recommend for improving selling skills, especially for those who might struggle with small talk? Oh my God, what a loaded question, Varsha. Varsha, are you on audio? Can you speak? I guess not. Um, it's I'm guessing. Anyways, so that's okay. It's just traveling. Okay. So the question is awesome. The answer I would first start with. Go ahead, Prateek.
Hey Karthik, thank you so much, first of all, for conducting this session. I had a question regarding the so what. How do I ask that question with conviction when I inherently know the answer to the so what? Right? It's very clear, like the new product in this example, new products is not getting visibility. So obviously the customer, it's very inherent to me that, okay, these new products are their new revenue generation. And if they're not getting visibility, it's we have to solve their UX issues, right? So how do I, at least me personally, how do I get that conviction to make
Yeah,
sure I ask that question properly?
yeah. Have you seen good conversationalists versus average conversationalists? When
No.
two average, yeah. So when two average conversationalists talk to each other, and this kind of answers the how do I struggle with small talk, that you don't do small talk. You
Mm,
never do it. It's okay. It is and it's actually connected to Pratik's question. So let's address this together. Um, so when a person, a founder, a salesperson starts asking, "Oh, where do you live? Or how many kids do you have? What school do they go to?" The guy across the table from you or on the other side of the Zoom meeting kind of knows you don't care.
yeah,
Okay. And this is not what you're here for. You're here to sell me and you're trying to connect with me on these things. Like they don't look upon it favorably. So you don't want to do small talk. You
right.
want to get to know the person and all that and let them lead the way. If they're talking about their kids, ask them questions. Fantastic. Okay. So you want to avoid small talk. You want to be very crisp. You want to be friendly. You want to be consultative,
Mhm.
but you don't want to do a lot of small talk. You could break the ice with small talk. It could be like, hey man, it looks like it's snowing behind you. Is that a virtual screen or is it really snowing? Like you could start
Right.
something like that. And ask them for their role. You can ask them for relevant questions, and you can get into situational questions. Small talk, you almost want to avoid it, right? Like I said,
Right.
look, I'll get to the topic and I'll give you your time back. What did that make you do? Did that make you say, I want to drop off and go? No, it'd be like, you know what? I want to stay because
Yeah.
Karthik's going to give me my time back, right? So that's what you want to do. You want to kind of say, hey, I'm here to talk about these things, and I just want to start with a few questions. If you have any questions, ask. Like you kind of want to do that, and keep your small talk to a minimum. Okay. And okay, how do I practice this? Pratik, I'm getting to it. Jasper, I'll get to you too.
Sure. Sure.
How do you practice this? This is not something you wait for a customer scenario. You do this in social settings. This framework I'm talking about, you do this in a social setting too, and that's my answer to Pratik as well. Is like in a social situation, let's say you have to meet your brother-in-law and you have
Hmm.
no idea what your brother-in-law, or you've got no interest. He just looks like a really boring guy. Okay. And you're left alone with this person at a table, and you're speaking to this person. And they bring up a topic of no interest. They take the music class. Oh, great. Where do you take this class? Oh, I see. So what made you take it? So now I'm problem hunting. What made you take it? Oh, because I'm coming up on retirement, and I had to pick up some skill. And so what, man? Retirement's for this is a so what question, right? So you see that. So anyways, let's finish that. Finish the thought process. So what, man? It's retirement. You're supposed to be idle. And oh man, I saw my dad. Like, what happened to him? It drove him crazy, and my parents started fighting even more at home. Okay,
Right.
good. Now you're starting to understand the person's motivation and all that stuff, right? So you see how asking this, you probably know the answer. You
Yep.
probably know that sitting idle in retirement is not healthy.
Yep.
But but the fact you asked it makes this person talk. And guess what? When you stop, when you walk away
Mm.
from the conversation, the guy's going to be like, "What an awesome guy Pratik was."
I see.
Why?
Sure.
Because he or she did all the talking,
Got
right?
it.
Same thing with customers. When you know the answer, but you get, and the other thing is when the customer talks about the problem, they will use slightly different words. Why does that matter? It is very
Because
important. And I'll tell you what happens when a customer uses, let's say they don't call it conversion ratio, they call it I don't know. I'm coming up with click rates or something. They call it something slightly different. Uh, and we as technical people love to correct them. Like, oh, in the industry, it's called conversion ratio, and we do blah blah blah, and you pull up a slide, and like, no,
yeah.
they called it click rate. You call it click rate.
Yes.
So you say, what if I could improve this click rate for you,
Hmm.
right? So it is so important to have them state their problem, and they will not mind it at all.
Got it.
So, Varsha, you should too practice this in personal settings. When I go to a party with a lot of technical people, which happens a lot, each one is stating their opinion. Nobody double clicks on the other person's talk track,
True.
right? And I remember when my mom, when I was little, my mom used to talk how great her son was, and the lady she's speaking to also talks about how great her son is, right? And they're both talking about each other's kid or their own kids. So that's kind of the situation we are in most conversations. So, anyways, this solves that problem.
Thanks, Karthik.
Just sorry, Pratik, you want to say something?
No, I said thank you. That clears it. Yeah.
Jasper?
Yeah, so to this kind of connects to what Forsha said. So when working on AI products, there's pretty much competitors and everything already, but there's not one solution that every company is using. So it's like there's, for example, I encountered a company that was making an AI solution to help recruiters. And um, now let's say I make a product that also helps recruiters. Now, this company, they already had built some trust in the industry for like a year or something. Then I will start talking with these businesses. How do I deal with this? And or in general, build trust with businesses.
That is one of the mitigating risk is trust. You see that? Fit, price, timeline, competition, and trust. So in this course, I do go through all of this so that you can start addressing it right from the beginning. So I'm not going to lie to you. Yes, trust is going to be a big issue. But if okay, a lot of the times you'll go through the entire sales process and the customer will not buy. They will actually buy the dumber, bigger vendor. The issue was not fit. It was you're cheaper, you're a better fit, you could have done it faster, but they just couldn't get themselves to trust that you will be able to come through, right? And you wonder why it happened, right? So it's something that should start right from the beginning. Okay. So and that's the word that's a large topic, and we do get into that in this course. So let me just how much time do we have? And I do want to answer this question, not hand wave it. So if you want, Rahul has twisted my arm, and he asked me to put a promo code so that you get $100 off the class. It's generally 500, but it's 400 for Taro members. So you should do that if you're interested. But let's talk about the trust issue. Okay, so it's right from the beginning. Just this fact that you went through this talk track of discovery, and in the discovery, they're selling themselves. Do you understand? Customers buy not because you sold to them. Nobody wants to be sold to. They buy because it's their decision, or they think it's their decision. You are just guiding them, and you're like, you know what, let's think about your most important things. I know there are like 15 different things that you'd like to have, but there are probably 3 that you must have. So let's talk about that. And you're kind of guiding them into this thing. Things like that build trust. I also have content on first meeting, how to create a presentation flow that builds trust, where you let them lead the way. And you're not trying to finish your presentation thing. Okay, so so it's kind of and that's why in this course it is it's among the last topics, because we kind of put everything together. How do you make sure the customer doesn't think your price is too high? How do you make sure the customer doesn't go off because they don't trust you enough? And how do you eliminate competition right up front, and things like that? So did I answer your question? Just the
Yeah,
way,
somewhat.
yeah, just the way in which you do your discovery, you help them connect the dots to the business problem, makes them trust you more. What do you think other vendors do? Other vendors, so this is to your advantage. Other vendors are doing this. They have a packaged demo, packaged presentation, and they do 15 of this every week so that they can identify opportunities and close a few of them, right? This is what they're trying to do. And you're not. What you are more interested in them stating their problems to you, and you're asking what if so what. In fact, try this, Jasper. If this other so-called competitor is a well-known name, you should almost ask the customer, have you tried that product? So when you're speaking to the HR, because don't kid yourself, every department is probably looking for AI solutions to save money. Hey, do I go hire 2 more people, or can I use AI, right?
Yeah.
And so they're going through that. So before you go in, they've already thought through it. You are one of the vendors, right? So you can just ask if you've got enough thing going from a consultative perspective, asking the what if questions and everything. You can actually ask, have you tried what other AI solutions have you tried? And they'll be more than willing to share with you. I've tried this, I've tried that. In fact, I've not tried anything, but I've heard of this. Okay, good. Have you heard of if this company is a real competitor, you should ask about that. You should be, why don't you just use them? Like they are an extension to Salesforce. You should just have you tried that out? So what have you just done? Has that question
Yeah, but what
increased the
if they
trust?
didn't know them and now they are, they know about them and they don't want your thing anymore?
Fabulous. Excellent question. That's the state I was stuck in for a long time, where I was like, let's close this before they find out. Let's get to a POC before they find out. Let me go get this security validation done so they will buy and let's go. And all that, right? But guess what? You remember this?
Yeah,
These people are not acting in isolation. There are 15 other people involved in this decision making who think that this guy you are speaking to is dumb. Oh, I can do a better job of finding a solution. I want to look good for my, so they're doing their own research. And in the team meeting, when this guy is presenting his or her findings, there's somebody else saying, oh, I researched this, that, dude, come on, they're the industry standard. That's, they're much better, much safer, right? There's somebody throwing FUD. So, so you don't, so basically what I'm trying to tell you is it'll come to bite you later.
all right.
Okay. And by asking it up front, you have shown that you're not afraid to engage in the conversation. The impression the customer has about you as a person that comes to sell me is like, oh, you're going to try and sell me something and hide better things from me. But no, your product is genuinely better ROI than this other product. And the other product's harder to implement. I don't know. I'm sure you know the competitive differences, right? So you do have a better product. So you almost want to raise the topic yourself and say, what other AI solutions you're looking at? And if you're specifically worried about this one product, you probably want to know, because I hear a lot of customers talk about that product. So now you've armed your champion in the team meeting when this other product comes up to say, hey, that's yeah, we've talked about that. In fact, I've looked into it, and I like this better because of so reasons.
I see.
Okay.
That is a interesting view on it.
So, and I'm telling you that I promised you that in this 30, 45 minutes, that I will tell you things where there's no going back from. And that's why I put together this framework, and that's why I don't make a lot of money with this course, by the way. It just covers my costs. I put this together because once you go through this framework, then there's no going back. You get to use it in social situations, as a founder within your existing company, and all that. So that's what gets me excited and up at night. Okay, can this be applied for freelancers selling their services into B2B? Dude, selling services is B2B, isn't it? Sat? What kind of service are you selling?
Yeah, like a web developer. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's on the same lines. My bad.
Yeah, so you are selling to B2B. So it's even more important for a freelancer because the trust factor is going to be so low when you meet them. And there are like 15 other people that cold call them every week.
Mhm.
When they do come talk to you and they take the time, if you sound like every other person, it's yeah, so you need to understand this as a freelancer more than the vendor. The big vendors have all kinds of backing. They've got collateral, they've got case studies, they've got brand recognition. They will invite the customer to events, and you don't do all that.
Right,
So this is even more important for you than the vendors.
right. Thank you.
Fantastic. All right, guys, I've come up on the time that I promised, so I don't want to take more time than required. I look forward, if interested, look forward to seeing some of you in the class. There's one starting early April. Any other questions before we drop?
Now I have questions.
Yes, sir.
So I have mostly experience with talking with consumers. Before I had a business, I was making innovative games, and I talk with a lot of consumers, and I kind of feel comfortable talking with consumers. And I was wondering how I can channel that into talking with businesses.
Yeah. You mean an individual buyer versus a business buyer, right?
Yes, yes.
So you have to remember that the business buyer is an individual, and they, just like when they bought a game, whatever their motivations were, their risk averseness was, similar thing is working out. So let's say you're talking to, so in a B2B, you got many individuals instead of selling to
So
one individual.
basically, I would just give like a demo to someone and they would get excited. And then using that, I could do something with it. That was my approach. And I have good experience with it.
What do you do with it? So they get excited, then what do you do?
Well, I would show it to them, they get excited and I get feedback. And then they kind of feel like they are part of the process, I think. And when I have that, I feel like I kind of feel comfortable with them. And that's why I now feel comfortable selling things to consumers, but not to businesses, because
Yep.
there's like a lot of people involved in a business.
Yep. Great. So you're saying you're very good at this, right? You got that. This is what you need. Okay. You need to understand that the enterprise, I call it the enterprise anatomy. It's made up of many individual uh, folks, right? And they are just individual folks. So you kind of have, so just because you gotten them excited does not mean everybody else is excited, right? And people get excited for different reasons. So you would take this excitement from here and you'd feed it into this champion building. I don't want to call it an exercise because it makes it sound like it's tedious. It's actually fun. So that's your champion. That's great. But then you use your champion to influence other people in the enterprise. And so this is where the closing playbook comes from. So you treat each one as a separate individual with different things that excite them. Okay. I see people are dropping, Jasbir. We can talk more. But did I kind of answer
Thank
your
you.
question?
Yeah, that's a good thank you. That answers my question.
Okay, for now. All right. Yeah, but we can talk more. I'm on the Taro Slack channel. Okay. Any other questions? If not, we will.
I was also wondering, like, what is your take on sending emails or meeting in person, the
Yeah.
approach?
Oh, that's easy. You always meet in person. I don't. You do send emails. You send emails and you ask and you say, hey, can we meet over coffee? The challenge I have these days. Okay, look, I have been selling for 18 years, so I don't know how the kids do it these days. But um, meeting in person builds trust much faster, right? And then when you're on Zoom, turn on your video. Like that's just foundational. And if the customer has not turned on the video, it shows you that they're not committed. They don't want to turn on the video. And that's okay, right? So you kind of know that there's a trust issue. And once you start building their trust, that they might start turning on the video in the next few calls. And so always opt for in-person meetings. The challenge I have is most people do not or they say we're all over the place. Like you said, it's not one person you need to talk to, it's a team of 5 or 18 or whatever that is, right? So and you ask for an in-person meeting and they go, oh, but that guy's in Atlanta, I'm in San Jose, the other person Boston, we can't meet in person. In fact, they almost give that as an objection because they don't want to meet you in person. They don't want to commit to your product. Okay. So that's that's the issue I have, and you need to kind of build enough trust. And at some point, these guys have in-person team meetings, right, where they all fly in and they are talking about strategy for next year or something. You take that opportunity. If you've built enough rapport with different people, you say, hey, you guys are all going to be in town. What, can I come over for a more detailed demo, something like that.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, it has to be fun. If it's not fun, you won't do it. So you need to, first thing, start using everything we talked about today in your personal settings. Do not wait for a professional opportunity to rise, then I'll practice. It'll never happen. Okay, great. With that, I want to thank all of you for staying this late. And it's recorded, of course. And we'll post it on the Taro community. And look forward to talking to you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you.